Yo, it's good. It's your man, 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. The Detroit Pistons edge out probably one of the ugliest wins I've ever seen in the history of NBA basketball. I'm going to dive into that in this video because God, oh God, did it remind us why this team needed veterans, why they were so desperate for Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks and Monty Morris to come back, why they so desperately needed Mike Muscala and Danilo Gallinari. This shit was ugly. It was ugly. I'm going to dive into that in this video. If you like it, you like it. Smash the like button if you want. Let me just be real with y'all. I've been trying to see the light with Jaden Ivy, and I think I have. He is a very gifted player. Great shooting touch with range, great release, really accurate, gets his feet set, consistent from the three-point line. And it's the exact opposite everywhere else on offense for him. He continued to be turnover prone in this game. He had 6 turnovers to 4 assists, and it probably could have been 7 or 8 turnovers. And if you count bad shots that get blocked and go the other way without anybody touching it, you might as well call that a turnover, because a bad shot and you didn't run any offense, nobody else touched the ball, but it's pretty much a turnover. This was probably a 10 turnover game for Jaden Ivy. And for some reason, Monty Williams still allowed him to be the de facto point guard to close the game in overtime. It made absolutely no sense. It made absolutely no sense. And I hope that whatever discussion happened behind closed doors did not snatch the cojones from Monty Williams. The part of you as a coach that you have to put your foot down and you have to say that there's a standard when it comes to the game of basketball. Look, let me be clear. If you can't move slow, you can't move fast. And I'm saying that to say, especially when you get to the college ball level, if you cannot move under control, you shouldn't be going faster than what you can move under control. Many times I played community college ball. I had a lot of speed when I was younger. And I remember I'd be flying around on the court, playing all sorts of defense. And I'm attacking the basket. I loved playing at a high pace. But I remember the coach would yell at me and he would say, slow down, because you're missing stuff. I wasn't dribbling the ball off my foot. I wasn't throwing the ball away with turnovers, but I was missing the action taking place. I was missing what we were trying to set up at times. And he wanted me to slow down because he wanted to see other things take place within the flow. If you can't slow down and be under control, you shouldn't be going faster than what you can do under control. Jaden Ivy had about 6 or 7 layups almost in a row that he just threw too hard off the backboard. And it seemed like everything that was working for him over the past maybe few weeks just went out the window. And one of the hardest things to do in the game of basketball, especially at the NBA level, is to be consistent, to be reliable. And he was anything but that. The three-point shooting was nice. All right. He hit 7 of 7. That was great. Outside of that, he was costing this team the game. Guys were bailing him out, especially Jalen Duren. If Jalen Duren didn't have those follow-up tip dunks, he would have given this game away. I mean, this was an ugly game. Cade Cunningham was struggling, but it was, he was coming back from, missing a couple games. So you expected, him to kind of need to feel his way through it. Asar Thompson was playing on one leg. That was obvious. Jalen Duren probably had the most complete game, full game, putting pressure on the rim constantly. He was the big man amongst boys. There was no opposing big man there. If DeAndre Ayton was there, Detroit probably loses this game. If Malcolm Brogdon was there, Detroit probably loses this game. If Anthony Simons didn't get hurt, if Scoot Henderson was available. I mean, this was a depleted Portland Trailblazers team that lost their best player in the first half. Anthony Simons hurt his ankle and didn't return, and then they had no point guard. Ashton Higgins was just Patrick Beverly without a jump shot. This game, if we're honest, it got gift wrapped to the Portland Trailblazers, and Ivy tried to give it away at the end. Marcus Sasser was a revelation. He was the reason why they won this game. Point blank. He was the most consistent guard, the most reliable guard, the one who could get his shot off, the one who could get to his spots, the one who could handle the pressure, the one who could make good decisions, whose handle was sharp, who was able to get guys involved, who was able to make accurate passes when it mattered the most. He had 11 assists to 2 turnovers. And yet for some reason, Jaden Ivy, and this is what I'm concerned about, that he didn't see the need to defer to the guy who's actually playing well. That's a problem, y'all. That's a problem. If you're a star player, let's say you're a star player. He's not a star player. Let's be clear. He's accomplished nothing. But if there's somebody who's playing better than you, and your team is in a close game, and you're having a rough game, and you don't defer to the guy who has the better chance of helping your team win, shame on you. Shame on you. That Monty Williams didn't demand the ball be in Marcus Sasser's hands. That's an L for you, Monty Williams. You almost let your young guy give the game away. Cade Cunningham, where were you? Where were you to get the ball out of Ivy's hands? I don't care if he's been having good games. This is where you still have to be the floor general. You still have to be a leader. You still have to tell him, give it to him, the guy who's making the plays. Now, I go on and on about this, but this was absolutely a really ugly game to watch. This was an ugly game to watch, and it got gift wrapped. The referees are making bad calls. Most of the time, it was going Detroit Pistons' way. Guys were getting hurt for Portland. Like I said, that they were depleted. It was gift wrapped, and they still almost lost it. But I guess you can, an ugly victory is still a victory. They got 8 wins. But let me just say this. This team should be grateful that they're getting, what's his name, from the Utah Jazz, Fontecchio. They should be grateful that they're getting Fontecchio. They should be grateful that they're getting Quentin Grimes. These guys can't suit up and lace those shoelaces a second too soon. They need those two. They needed to have somebody to sub Jaden Ivy out for. They needed to have an extra shooter, but also a guy who is knowledgeable enough to know what to do, who is sound enough in his fundamentals to do the right thing. And this is the thing about European players, is that because they separate school and athletics, which is absurd that we don't in the United States, right? Your grade point average shouldn't have anything to do with if you can make and play on the basketball team, right? It's stupid. But, that just, anyways. But Fontecchio, Gallinari, Bogdanovich, these international players understand, Killian Hayes, they understand how to play the game of basketball. They understand where to be. They understand spacing. They understand footwork. They understand jump stop. They understand how to read the defense and know if it's the time to go all the way to the rim or to go for a floater or jump stop, pivot, and kick the ball out. Sound fundamentals. And what's lacking right now, and I would say with Cade and Ivy, is a lack of fundamentals. Not knowing whether they should go all the way to the rim or just attack the gap and pull up, floater, or jump stop, pivot, and kick the ball out to someone else. These are basics. And I know it's got to be frustrating the hell out of Monty Williams. It's like, what do? Your lead guards don't have basic fundamental skills, and yet you're still being told to play them. So you have to you have to get with the game plan that you're being hired to execute by your front office. But at the same time, it has to irk you because it's ugly as hell. This is not winning basketball. Let's be clear. I know most fans just wanted them to play together, and I want to see what they look like together for the rest of the season. For these last 30-some-odd games, I want to see it, and I'm okay with that. And what I'm seeing is some ugly-ass basketball, and they got to clean this up. Quentin Grimes, give him playing time. Out of the University of Houston, him and Marcus Sasser, they should have great chemistry. If Ivy is turning it over, dribbling it off his foot over and over and tossing the ball away, let's get Grimes in there. Let's get Sasser in there. Let's get guys in there who know what to do, who know where to be, who you don't have to worry about, because that shit is contagious and you can see it. You can see it. You can see it. You can see it begin to bleed into the other guys. The handle got a little bit looser. It's being dribbled up higher. All right. Guys are less secure. It's one of those things where if you don't nip it in the bud, and I think this is what Monty Williams tried to do early, but there was a lot of pressure, and I get it. You already were depleted with your roster. But I'm going to be real with y'all. You have to draw a line. Otherwise, you're going to end up like the Houston Rockets with Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. type of a situation where you know it's not winning basketball. And even though they're having good games, you're not winning. And you're going to get to a point where it's going to take seasons for those guys to undo those bad habits. Seasons that are going to drag out your rebuild. So I hope that Monty Williams begins to nip this in the bud. Hey, Ivy struggling, put in Sasser. Put in Sasser. Put in Grimes. You can't allow your lead guard to be a black hole, to have tunnel vision. And when he doesn't have tunnel vision, he struggles to complete a pass or dribble the ball off his foot or know what else to do with himself on the offensive end. Look, I love the defensive intensity. Look, I can go on and on. This was an ugly-ass game. I'm going to end it here. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, subscribe, do all the things. I'm going to holler at y'all next time. Peace.